What'd you say to her anyway? And welcome back to the morning show. Mayor Tom Brady with us this morning. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, Bruce. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Very good, thank you.
Getting through the weekend. It's so strange, and we talked about earlier this morning how the holiday is midweek now, and it's just kind of hard to determine exactly what you're going to do and when. Thanks, Jan.
Yes,
it messed
it
with
is.
your week?
No, it hasn't messed with my week at all. As a matter of fact, I've been gone for the weekend. They had the Kiwanis International Convention in Las Vegas, so several of us went up there for that.
I think I saw something online about that.
Yeah, it's amazing. I swear there were several thousand people there from all over the world, and it was just amazing to see all of the good work that's being done throughout the globe.
Yeah, Kiwanis does get after it.
Yeah, sure do. And I'm very proud to be a member of our club.
How long have you been a member?
I'm a charter member. Got founded in 1994.
No way.
So we're going on our 25th anniversary in January.
Good grief. Was that Gary Keith's club?
Well, actually, I was involved in Gary Keith's club back in 1983. That's the Colorado River Noon Club.
Right. Okay.
But back then, in the 80s, they were actually the morning club, and then they moved to the noon club, and then I had to get out because I was going to work in Kingman every day. But then when we formed the Breakoff Club in '94, it became the morning club, and it's been in existence ever since.
Yeah, speaking of that, takes me back to the time our first meeting or phone conversation, but just for some reason thinking of Davis Camp, you were in charge of that for a while with the county.
Right.
What do you see in Davis Camp's future? I mean, I know you're not a county official, but I'm certain there's things that you would like to see that would benefit not only the county, but Bullhead City as well.
Well,
did I touch on something I shouldn't have here?
No, it's not. But for me to comment on what I would like to see there is could be considered critical of the way it's being managed now.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't want to go there.
Well, the one thing is that we created most of it back in the 80s and 90s, so a lot of it is getting aged.
Right.
So it needs some upgrading and some refurbishment. So the new Parks Director, Hal Barton, is doing a good job of that. But what's important is that it's become so popular and so busy, they're actually making the money now to actually do those improvements.
Great.
Back then, when we were developing the camp, I remember we were so poor. I'm not kidding. I told my people, if you bend a nail, you need to straighten it because we don't have the money to buy it.
No way.
Yeah. Back in '85, the Board of Supervisors that was a very tough time, and they basically said, Brady, you're on your own.
Yeah.
We're not giving any tax support, so you either make it by the revenues that you generate and the grants that you get, or
wow,
your history.
Wow.
So that was tough times, but we got several grants, and we developed the camp in a slow and in a measured way, and. Now look at it. You go down there any weekend, and it's just absolutely packed. Yeah,
I was looking at this weekend. I could not believe the number of people and cars and all of the watercraft out in front of it. I mean, it was just, the entire river was that way, but a lot of people utilize that.
But then driving over the bridge on my way here today, the entire South Beach is completely empty.
Is it really?
Yeah, so they were there for this weekend, and now they're all gone, and now I wonder whether or not they're going to be here come Wednesday, the 4th of July, and through that weekend.
Might be more of a locals weekend on the 4th.
It could be.
So to speak, a locals holiday, which they don't get many of.
Correct.
So, be interesting to see.
Yeah.
So moving on downriver, obviously under the bridge and on down past the Chamber of Commerce. Wow. Another total success from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, we're moving a little bit of earth down there.
Yeah, you are. And a lot of people are utilizing that beach, too.
Yeah, it's turning out to be real nice. But everybody's got to realize that it's going to be a slow process.
Right.
We just finished our budget, and we're only budgeted $250,000 for continued improvements to the community park area. And $250,000 is not going to get us very far when there's so much earth to be moved. When you get down to the south end of the park, which we haven't really touched except just clearing and grubbing, we've got 20-foot cliffs from the top grade all the way down to the river.
Wow.
So there's a lot of earth to be moved there. And right now we've got private contractor going in there with a small contract, and he's moving a lot of earth and trying to shape it so that we've got a gradual slope down to the river, and they're doing a really good job. I love going down there and watching the heavy equipment move earth. That's always fun.
So I saw it this weekend, and again, it was pretty well packed down there. I saw Dave was down there. At least he put something online about getting traffic to move or cars to move and park in the appropriate places.
That's the problem, and that's one of those things that you just have to anticipate rather than find out that you've got a problem after the fact.
Yeah. Well, there will come a time where that will eventually start paying for itself, will it not? I mean, do you have plans
it's never going to pay for itself in the way of any kind of an entry fee, because there's just no way, because of the narrowness of it and its location next to the Chamber of Commerce and the rest of the park. There's just no way in the world that we can envision charging any kind of an entrance fee to get in there.
Okay.
So no, it'll always be free. So what we will get, though, is the tourism and all of the economic activity that goes along with that.
The timeline on that thing brought to its completion is what, 25 years or so?
It's hard to say. Right now we've hired a lobbying firm out of Washington, D.C. to work with trying to acquire that land from the Bureau of Land Management. As you may recall, about 3 years ago, Don Laughlin gave us 1,120 acres of his ranch in the Black Mountains,
right,
just north of the Sleeping Princess.
Right.
And he had his home up there, or a home up there, and he gifted that to Bullhead City 3 years ago. And we're required to keep it for 5 years. But at the end of 5 years, we can do what we want with it. So right now we're hoping to trade that land with the BLM in exchange for Bullhead Community Park in its entirety.
Wow.
So we would like to get complete ownership of it, where we don't have to turn to the BLM every time we want to blow our nose.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, they're rough. August, I can't remember the date, but August is coming around very, very quickly, as we all know, and so is the regatta, but still has not been approved by the Coast Guard.
No, but they came out with their preliminary draft for public comment, and the draft itself was very positive towards the regatta. They studied, the endangered species. They studied the trash. They studied everything, and they made comments on it. And for the most part, the way the report came out, it was positive. So it's hard to say what the final outcome will be, but we're getting closer to the date, and we hope that we get an answer soon.
I don't think there could have been a better scenario.
I'm just so glad that Marnell took it over, because I'm afraid that, it might have come back to the city.
Oh, it would have,
and
without a doubt.
It's just far too big of a thing for the city to do. We've spent so much time on it, and there was so much risk involved. And part of the problem was ours. We probably needed to put better controls on it when we ran it. But we didn't, and it failed. It failed for really the wrong reason, because of the trash.
Yeah, that was overblown. I mean,
that was, I will admit that was our mistake. That should have never happened. We did not have the resources to deal with a strong north wind and people missing the takeout point.
Right.
In years past, we had people down there, we had trash dumpsters and containers down there, and we did away with it because several years went by and we never needed it. And then, lo and behold, the last year that we ran it, we had a north wind and people missed the takeout point.
Yeah.
And when you end up a half a mile away from where the buses are, and you've got your ice chests and your coolers and everything else, and there's no trash cans and there's no transportation, people just tend to leave their stuff there, which is what they did in mass. So that was our mistake, and I'm hoping that will not ever reoccur. Now, when I read the trash plan for Marnell Gaming, I'm really impressed. I think it was like they had 13. Wait, let me get this right. I can't remember the exact numbers, but they had, I think it was 6 different boats with 2 jet skis. Or a jet ski on each one, and they were spaced like a quarter mile apart from one another, all the way past the takeout point. And those people were there to collect the trash as it came by. So if it passed the first one, then the second one got it, and if it passed them, the next one got it. And I think they're going to do a much, much better job of collecting the trash as it accumulates during the regatta.
Yeah, I do too. And the amount that they've collected to this point.
And they've done a tremendous, and the funny part about that is that they had just completed a weekday or a weekend cleanup, And they had dozens and dozens of people out there and several groups out there, and they just cleaned up the whole area, including Bullhead Community Park. And Toby Cotter and I went down there the next day to look at something else, and we were standing on the shoreline, and we could see trash, and this was on a Monday, and we could see trash on the shoreline in a wash, and I could see a plastic bag in the river.
You're kidding?
No, and it was just disgusting that the weekend people had left the trash there when there were trash cans nearby. So I'm sorry to say that, you know, we've got some people out there that aren't the best when it comes to picking up after themselves.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, I gotta figure what, that sickens me, what they live in, or what their house looks like, or what their cars look like. I don't understand it.
I don't understand it either, but I guess that's society.
Well, on a good note, we go a little further south, and we've got the field house, which is nicely underway. The foundation has been laid. They're starting to put the steel up. We were down there, last weekend before last?
I wasn't available. I was out of town on vacation for the naming celebration.
Aha, that was nice.
Yeah, that's what I understand. The Anderson Ford Group came up with $600,000, close enough, $625,000, I think it was.
Right.
5 years, $125,000 a year. As a sponsor, the naming right of that field house, and that goes a long way.
That's a step up.
That goes a long way to ensuring success. Yeah. So I am so proud of Anderson Ford Group for stepping up and doing that.
I shouldn't have been. I was so surprised, though, at the negativity that was thrown at that. You know, I mean, I guess it was people, I'm guessing, I don't know, but I was guessing it was the people that were so negative about it were the ones who, in fact, were opposed to the field house in the first place, didn't read the ballot correctly, whatever it was. But they all of a sudden go after Anderson for being a great community sponsor and taking Anderson out because, well, they just didn't want the field house anyway, and how could these guys ever get it named after that? And where'd the money come? Oh, just the typical.
I must have missed all that.
Lord,
so people were critical of them and their generosity?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, my. No, I guess I missed that.
Yeah, you just, 2 or 3 half-wits. I mean, and the way they kept burning up the internet, it looked like there was dozens, but it was just a few that had no appreciation for anything positive being done.
Sometimes I think we're much better off not reading Facebook.
I agree. Unfortunately, I have to, but you're absolutely right.
I'm getting further and further away from it every day.
It's kind of crazy.
It is.
It's kind of crazy. So what else going on with the city?
I don't believe that we reported on it the last time I was on, or it was after the fact, but the city went to the International Shopping Center Convention in Las Vegas last month, and there we set up a booth, and we were in the midst of the biggest convention you could imagine. It was in the convention center, and every room was packed.
Really?
And this was all the developers throughout the world who were there, and all of the shopping center people, and all of the retailers. They all appear, and we were there trying to sell our product, Bullhead City.
Right.
And it was amazing. We made contact with so many people. Now, you never know whether or not any of those contacts are going to materialize, but we've been successful in the past.
Yeah.
So it was fun. We were there for 3 days, and city manager and I and a couple of city council people met and greeted so many people. It was just really fun.
Did you? Well, and again, it's impossible to say whether anybody will take advantage, but there was interest in the Bullhead City area?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of interest. As a matter of fact, I want to report that the folks from Hobby Lobby came up.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, they did not want us to announce that they were coming to Bullhead City because they hadn't completed the land purchase. But when 5 of them showed up to our booth, they said, "We've just now completed the land sale, so if you want to go ahead and announce that we're coming to Bullhead City, you're certainly welcome to do so." But what's most important was listening to all 5 of them. They said they have never experienced a city where it was so business friendly. They honestly said that we should be the model for the rest of the country to
get out of Dodge.
No, really. They were so complimentary on on the business friendliness that they experienced in coming to Bullhead City.
Wow.
So, and that's not the first time I've heard that, but it happened just last month when we met with those folks.
Well, that's really quite a compliment.
Yeah, and now they're breaking ground. If you haven't been behind Perkins Restaurant,
yeah,
you see the earth moving equipment going on, and that's going to be your new Hobby Lobby.
I hope this Hobby Lobby has stuff for RC airplanes.
I've never been in a Hobby Lobby. I don't have any idea
what
they do.
And they don't have any RC airplane stuff. I want RC airplane. It's a hobby. Come on.
Are you into that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I haven't been for years, but I've still got planes with all the goodies on it, all the radios, everything. And I used to fly with guys down in Mojave Valley.
My son was into that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Gets very expensive very quickly, but it's
oh yeah,
fun.
especially when you crash.
Oh yeah, yeah, that usually does it. But I enjoy putting the planes together more than I do flying them. And I thought flying one, it would be relatively easy. But after being a pilot, and you get the feeling in your seat of what's going on with the airplane, well, RCs don't do that. Many mistakes later, and bottles of glue.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, it was something else. But so we've got the bridge coming across pretty soon, you think?
Yeah, the final design plans are now done. They expect that they will go out to bid sometime in the coming months, and they expect that they will start construction probably right after the first of the year. But they expect it'll be like an 18-month project. So
wow.
It'll take a while for it actually to get built.
Oh, and it's going to take a while for them to get off the river up to Needles Highway, for darn sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's all part
of
it.
New infrastructure.
That's all part of the whole project. So the road, the approaches to the bridge and the close to the 3 miles on the Nevada side, that's all part of the whole contract.
I'm just wondering, you know, I've never really heard any of the studies done on it to completion, but I'm just wondering what kind of impact that's going to have on Laughlin. I mean, I would believe that up here in the residential area, business area, other than casinos, it would have some type of impact. I think for Laughlin, or for Bullhead City, there's going to be a hell of an impact.
I think it has more to do with the future growth of Laughlin. As you grow and start coming further south, which is what my understanding of your plan is, then that will have a more of an impact. But it's like, I don't imagine too many people from Bullhead or Fort Mojave are going to use the bridge to go shopping at Adolphi's Market.
You're probably right.
But for those of you who live in Laughlin who want to come shopping and spending your tax dollars in Bullhead City, it will be a great, tremendous boon for you, and we encourage you to do it.
You thank us for every bit of it. Are you ready to take a break, kid?
Yes, we can.
All right, let's do that. We'll take our third look at weather, actually our 5-day weather. Michaela will bring that to you, and then she'll drop it right into break. So, Michaela, if you would, are you ready?
Yes I am.
Michaela.
All right, today we will have a high of 111 in Laughlin, 86 in Flagstaff, 107 in Phoenix, 114 in Needles, 76 in Los Angeles, and 109 in Las Vegas. And this is what our week will look like. 111 today, like I said, winds come from the south all week. 18 miles an hour tomorrow, temperature at 107. Wednesday also at 107. Thursday back up to 111. And then Friday's going to be the hot one at 117.
I shouldn't have had you do that at all.
Sorry.
That's all right. Another beautiful day.
week.
Going to take a break. We'll be back with the mayor. Stay with us.
This segment of the morning show is brought to you by Fort Mojave Dental, the best place for the best smile in the tri-state area. Kind and caring staff will help you feel better about your smile. Call them today at 928-758-8887 or check them out online at sugarbug.com.
Houston, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
So you can't drive for whatever reason. You need to get to the grocery store, the doctor's office, or you just want to spend the day shopping. Trips to Las Vegas, Boulder City, Green Valley, and Henderson are as easy as 1, 2, 3. These out-of-town trips provide access to medical specialists not available in our immediate area, as well as providing access to expanded retail and entertainment excursions. Clean, safe, and dependable. Service for Laughlin and Searchlight. It's Silver Rider.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Mayor Tom Brady with us this morning, Mayor of Bullhead City, and he's just putting me in awe. I am in awe of the numbers. Graffiti is always, especially larger cities, a huge problem. But you're telling me Bullhead City, what?
I don't know that most people realize, because you don't see the graffiti in our town, because we don't have any. You go to Los Angeles, you go to any big city, you see the trains driving down the road, and you see the graffiti everywhere. But in Bullhead City, we are very proud of the fact that just in this last quarter, in the last 3 months, we removed 35 square feet of graffiti. The quarter before that 3-month period, we removed 30 square feet of graffiti. And the quarter before that, we removed 20 square feet of graffiti. I don't know what it is about our town, but we just do not have excuse me, we do not have a graffiti problem. And then when we do, and we're aware of it, it's our goal to have it removed within 3 days.
And as well as find the little punks who did it. I shouldn't say punks, but the punks who did it.
And that's usually what happens. Somebody from Los Angeles moves in and they're good with the spray can, and then we get a rash of it for a while until they either get caught or they move out. But I'm just really proud of the fact that we do not have our abandoned buildings or our derelict buildings being graffitied left and right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's great. And the one thing I'd like to point out on that too is we have an app out there for our citizens to use. It's called Go Request, G-O Request. If you want to go online and download an app, if you notice something like that and you download this app, it's a very simple matter to just report it to the city.
Right.
You just go to that app, you take a picture of whatever it is that you see is bothering you, and that will show up on map views exactly where you stand. Oh, there you go, Chad, thank you. You take a picture, it will identify the exact location of where the picture was taken, and then you just basically can send, you can just say, I want to send it to park maintenance or the road department. You've got a pothole on the street.
Oh my God.
Or you've got a tree branch overhanging the street. If we can get our citizens involved, I think they will be appreciative of work getting done rather than calling City Hall and complaining.
How long has this been going on?
It's been the whole time I've been the mayor, and I use it all the time. And I
got to tell you, Tom, I hadn't heard of it before. If I haven't forgotten it.
Oh, and it's a very simple app to use.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed if you see a pothole or you see something that bothers you, and you've got that app. Just try it out. I think you'll see in just a few clicks you can send your concern off to the city, and somebody will respond back to you, and they will likely take care of it in just a short period of time.
So how does one get to that app? I mean, if you don't
go
have
to the App Store.
Just to the App Store
and just type in or find Go Request.
That's pretty darn neat.
I think it's real neat, and I use it all the time, and I hope that I get the same response as a citizen does, but it seems like whenever I take a picture and report something, it gets done immediately.
So even potholes, things like that?
Well, don't call us for the small potholes, because
no.
We know we have lots of those.
No,
but
the car swallowers.
If you see the car swallower, yes. But if you've got, like, limbs hanging over a tree, it always bothers me when you drive along one of our landscape.
Limbs having over...
the limbs hanging over the road.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Having owned a motorhome, it always bothered me that I had to swerve around low-hanging limbs.
Right.
So those are the kinds of things we need to know about, or the trees that might be blocking a view of oncoming or traffic coming from the left or right.
Right. Right.
So anyway, it's a nice app, and I wish our citizens were more aware of it and used it more frequently. Now the staff is
now
probably
they
going to
will,
hate
but-
me for saying that, but
You
by
will
all
now,
means,
right, folks? Because you know it's there. Finally, they brought it to TV2.
it's there,
That's cool.
and it's very simple to use.
So let me ask you another question. Burros. Where are we with that?
Just a few weeks ago, I went up and had dinner at the Slate Ranch, and I must have counted 30 or 40 burros just drinking at the lake outside the restaurant. They were everywhere. And then when my wife and I left, we passed 3 different herds on the way down to Laughlin Ranch Boulevard. I mean, the Parkway. We've had a request in to the BLM to remove them, and they did. They actually came and they removed 67 of them.
67 out of how many? Any idea?
Well, Chris up at Laughlin Ranch said that night, if I would have had the time, he could have taken me up and shown me a herd of 200. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, if he was exaggerating, but I have no reason to disbelieve him, because I saw an awful lot of them on his golf course, and they were doing damage to his golf course.
Oh, I bet.
He showed me pictures of the hoof marks in his greens where 2 burros were fighting. And he had ruts in his green that were, several inches deep. He showed me another green where the young burros were eating the grass off of the green, just basically taking it down to bare dirt. This man's livelihood depends on the success of his golf course, and these burros are basically putting him out of business. Now, I'm told that after they removed the 67 burros as an emergency problem gather, people who live up at the Laughlin Ranch area, and they tell me that every night they're still coming down and they can hear them braying at all hours of the night. So it's an ongoing problem. They're supposed to have, I believe it was, I can't remember the number, 486 burros in the entire Black Mountain Range. And several years ago when they did their last count, they had over 1,800. And these burros multiply every 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
So some people are estimating that we have over 4,500 burros in the Black Mountain Range now, 10 times more than what we're supposed to have. I took a couple of pictures of those burros that I saw on my way back from dinner that night, and if you look closely at the pictures, some of them you could see their ribs. They're going to start starving to death because there's going to be so many of them.
Yeah.
And they're not going to die humanely. So if the Bureau of or Land Management would come and take them away, they take them down to Florence for adoption. And if they don't get adopted there, then they're taken to another ranch someplace in the western United States where they're put on a pasture until they die. The 1971 Wild Horse and Burros Act does not allow you to kill them, to touch them, to transport them to Mexico. You basically just wait for them to die. And it's costing about $1,000 a year to house those burros on government land.
$1,000 a year?
They estimate right now that there are 48,000 burros and horses on pasture lands that are managed by the federal government or paid for by the federal government at an expense of $50 million a year. And it should be doubling every 4 years.
And the property damage is immeasurable.
And it's just amazing. We all love burros. They're just cute. They're friendly, but at what point, folks, do they get out of hand?
Yeah.
I mean, when we have 100 of them grazing on the edge of our parkway, are we going to say that enough is enough? At some point in time, something has to get done. And it's not our problem. It's the BLM's problem, and it's Congress's problem, and we wish that they would act on it.
If they had to live here, they would.
I would like to put them all on a cattle hauler and drop them on the streets of the Capitol.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen.
Well, it's good. May have something to do with your run for mayor, and you don't want to do that right now. It is a big problem, and I know and again, it's just one of those stupid things you see on Facebook, and I don't want to call people stupid who have empathy towards the burros, but I want to call them ignorant insofar as they don't understand completely what damage is being done and the lives that could be drastically changed by running into one of these damn things. It isn't like hitting a little cat in the street. This 400, 500, 600, 700 pound burro is going to take you out.
No, we've had many collisions on the Parkway and Highway 68, and just fortunately that no one has been seriously injured yet. But the day will come, I'm sure.
Oh gosh, yeah, it really will. So hopefully people start understanding that nobody's trying to be mean, but it isn't doing us any good.
And it's not humane for them to just grow uncontrollably. They are going to die from lack of vegetation, and they're going to take out everything else along with them.
Yeah.
And they're not only starving, but the water situation is such that they're contaminating the water supply for everybody else. People have told me that if you find one of these water containment areas in the mountains around here, the burros stand in it and they defecate in that water source, and that's not safe for anybody or anything. So it's a real problem. And again, this is not a city problem. There's nothing that we can do about it. It's just we wish that our federal government would do something, because right now they're ignoring the situation because they don't want to face the scrutiny and the wild burro lovers.
Yeah.
And people say that they were here long before us. No, they weren't. The burros were not here. They were brought here by the miners who were the first inhabitants of our area. So there are no natural wild burros in this area. Oh, and as people say that we should fence it. Well, folks, we cannot fence it. Well, I don't know what they want to fence, because if you fence the Parkway, that's one thing, but it doesn't solve the problem for the neighborhoods west or east of the Parkway. And you can't fence the city limits because you have so many washes and access places that it would be impossible to do that. And it doesn't solve the problem. They're still going to continue to multiply every 4 years.
Let's talk about, I've got about 4 minutes left. The city, doing well, doing great, doing better, doing wonderfully. Where tax dollars coming in? How are we doing?
We're doing good. Our sales tax revenue is up about 6% for this quarter as opposed to last year. Our building permits for the fourth quarter, we did 39 single-family building permits for about a 7% increase from the same quarter last year.
Good.
And we did 30 commercial permits, and that's up about 3% from the same quarter last year.
It's all positive news.
It's all positive news. We've got Culver's. We just had a groundbreaking for them. They expect to break ground on the southwest corner of the Parkway and Highway 95 soon in the Crossroad Shopping Center. Smart and Final Express, they had a July 11th, hopefully starting date, but they had a small little fire there just recently, so it might delay that a little bit. We also mentioned Hobby Lobby. They're moving dirt right now. Holiday Inn Express, we expect that they will probably break ground within the next month or two at the most.
Really?
Yeah, and that'll be across the street from Silver Creek from Lowe's hardware store.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I think I saw the site the other day.
So that's real good. And now if you drove by Bullhead Community Park, the museum is being framed, so that's going up.
Isn't that amazing?
Laughlin Ranch Boulevard is on target. We're hoping for an August opening date on that.
Wow.
We were afraid that the traffic light on Highway 95 was going to delay the opening of that, but it appears as though we're going to get it on time, so we're not expecting a delay now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
That'll be great.
Wow.
So
a lot of stuff going on, Tom.
A lot of stuff is going on, you know, and we're trying to anticipate and plan for all of the things that are happening, and that's our job. We've got to make sure that, you know, we stay ahead of the curve. So like the Laughlin Ranch Boulevard, we're paying for 1/3 of the cost of that entire 2-mile stretch of road.
Really?
So, you know, in anticipation of the growth that's coming, the city is proactive in trying to get ahead of the curve. We don't want to be like a Los Angeles or some of the big cities where the growth comes at you and then you're always a step behind, but you're dealing with all of the problems associated with it.
So staying ahead of the what was I thinking? Oh, there was a time back when everybody was screaming about repaving everything because there were some areas that really did need it. You guys went in, you did a lot of surface work on it, seemed to settle everybody down, and it seems to be working. We should kind of stand ahead of that ball now.
The plan that we have right now is that we bought our own micro-surfacing machine, and we're hoping that we can do every road in town every 5 years.
Okay.
And and the ones that are in really bad shape, that's where we got to put extra effort into it, and that's basically tear it out and do it all over again.
Right.
And we're doing that as needed. So we're hoping that we can stay ahead of that curve. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. Not the best job in the world. You know, if funds were unlimited and we could do everything that we wanted to do,
right?
You know, we would probably have a different plan. But the plan that we have now seems to be working, and in the hopes that things will get better in the future.
Excellent. Tom, I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my
good seeing
pleasure,
you.
Bruce.
Mayor Tom Brady, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, we'll see you again tomorrow. We're going to be opening up the phone lines, and expect, anticipate, and hope you call. Until then, we want you to have a great day. Michaela, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chad, thank you.
Anytime.
And Chad, again, happy birthday. Lynn, happy birthday. I'll be right home. I'll get you your cards. I'm sorry.
Happy birthday, Lynn.
Happy
birthday, Lynn.
Until tomorrow. Bye-bye.
The preceding presentation of the morning show is intended for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the show without the express written consent of TV2 KLBC is strictly prohibited.